Good evening and Happy New Year to our participant and speaker. Welcome to our Institute of Global Professional Free webinar. Thank you all for joining and stay with us till the end. My lovely audience, today I am your host for the evening. My name is Badhun Das. I am from Bangladesh. Dear audience, I am proud to be a associate with IGP as a global member. I feel honored and privileged to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our Institute of Global Professional Free webinar. It's my Thank you all for joining us today in this marvelous evening, and it's my humble request and pleasure to all of you to stay with us till the end. Institute of Global Professional serves student and community resource providing holistic social work and education for create a competent generation. IGP is a leading on online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. Institute of Global Professional is an educational institute provides social work with globally recognized. We organized our webinar training offline online courses by based and trained speaker coaches from all over the world. Our mission is to empower people. We have already completed 1,109 webinars successfully. Dear participants, let's welcome our speaker, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Good
I
evening,
think I am
sir. How are
audible.
you?
Yeah, I'm
Yes, sir,
fine.
you are audible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sir, first
So,
describe yourself and then you can start your presentation.
okay, fine, 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 absolutely. Good evening, dear participants. Happy New Year to all, and Happy New Year to IJP and its uh, members. We are here to discuss today on a very valid topic, that is research ethics in engineering. Rather, it should is engineering practice. So, what are the values? What are the ethics? What are the codes of practices? What are the governing bodies that determine the codes of practices that we are going to share today? Myself, Dr. Shobik Ganguly. I am serving as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Instrumentation Engineering at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, that's situated in northern part of India. So let's welcome our participants, and hopefully in the next 1.5 hours, you'll be enjoying the session on research ethics in engineering. So basically, we are talking about ethical practices in engineering today. So first of all, we'd like to know that what is ethics all about, what are the different codes and practices, how it came into being, what are the different types of engineering failures that resulted in development of some codes and conducts. So basically, it's a journey which all started mostly in. You'll find that most of the codes and practices that are framed are mostly based on UK and US. So I think most of the countries have followed from these two nations regarding development of engineering practices or development of values for an engineer. What is ethics, first of all? What are the ethical things that we need to learn as an engineer? And at the same time, we can go ahead for the different historical background and the different societies who are helping us in the ethical practices. So, first of all, let's crack the definition. It's the field which defines some set of standards for engineers, by virtue of which it has to serve the public, it has to serve their clients, it has to serve their employers, it has to serve the profession as well. So it is a sort of standards being set by some engineers at certain point of time that will clearly cater to the needs of the public, to their clients, to their employers, and as well as to the profession of engineering. So it is not a particular system or a uniform system or a standard or some ethical conduct across the entire uh, profession rather. So it is a way to examine the system or the standard or the set, and this is how we are going to discuss today. So basically we need to understand the history, we need to understand what are the codes, what are the practices that we must follow, what is paramount in ethical practices, and uh, f- finally, last but not the least, we will understand certain engineering failures or certain massacres that have resulted due to lack of professionalism or lack of ethical issues at that point of time. So basically, it's a sort of discipline, or it's a sort of jurisdiction, mostly influenced by people who are engineers, and those are providing independently some professional services to their clients. So we are to say, for example, a company which is which is involved in the construction of bridges, which are involved in the construction of highways. So those persons will definitely obey certain standards, certain maintain certain uh, rules and regulations or practice should be there, which because it has to deal with public. Say a bridge all of a sudden, if it falls down, definitely it's the company or its organization to be blamed. So they has to be standardized. There has to be some uh, components that are set by some jurisdiction or certain discipline for maintaining, so for providing service to the clients or for providing service to the public, if it is employed in a government service or if they are employees of an enterprise for creating some products or for sale. So mostly the first set of professional engineers, I should say, that evolved from the part of United States, and those are were called as professional engineers, usually governed by certain rules, certain codes, certain consistent codes rather of professional practices. So this is where it came into being. That's why I was till initially telling all the participants that we are in the process of uh, formalizing certain codes of ethics or certain practices, certain standards, certain discipline, or certain jurisdiction amongst the people, so that the engineers must also learn. It's not about reading a course. It's about the practices that we follow when we are dealing with an employee or an employer or even some clients or something of that sort. So basically, it all began with licensing of the professional engineer. So engineers must hold a professional license in order to appear or in order to serve certain clients or certain employers as well. So that is where it began. That's the history where it began. Now, working as engineers. So, whether you are engineers working in the industry, they should be getting this particular professional engineers term, or sometimes we also call it in UK, we call it chartered engineers or professional engineers, like that. The nomenclature is all started from some ethical practices as well. So we find that when engineers are working in the industry, they has to follow certain rules, certain standards, uh, certain product liability laws, and often rely upon some principles of business ethics rather than engineering ethics. So this is how it goes about. So there should be some norms in the business. There should be some standards in the business. There should be certain competitions in the market, or certain things that you should not reveal. Say, for example, I'd like to share upon there are few uh, students who goes to the industry for internship, and they has to present some presentation, or they has to present through some seminar. Their reporting has to be there in the institute. We often hear the students saying that this is the data we should not reveal to you. So this is how it goes. So obviously, it relates to engineering practices, it relates to work ethics, it relates to business ethics as well, not to disclose or reveal some data which should not be brought to the notice of the public. So this is how it works. So as I was telling you, there is a term which I used earlier. Along with professional engineers, we call them chartered engineers in UK, and we do have in India as well the same coinage of chartered engineers developed by Institution of Engineers in India. So this is basically to make your engineers distinct from obtaining some sort of a license, some sort of a registration from a government agency or from a charter granting authority. So basically, you are licensing or you are providing certain license to an engineer that they should abide by certain rules and regulations. They should abide by certain standards while working in their industries. So there will be certain. I think there will be subject to certain regulatory bodies, right? And they must, these engineers must enjoy significant influence over that particular regulation. So they must be aware of the regulations that take place, and they should abide by the regulations, and they should be governed by those regulating bodies. So this is how it came about, and we will also learn about certain historical background, that how it came into being, what are the different societies. Just as I named one of the professional societies, there is another in UK which is called IET, right? So that is Institution of Engineering and Technology, and IEI is the counterpart in India, which we call it as Institution of Engineers India. So this is how some regulatory bodies have to be framed. They should give us some norms. They should give us some standards. They should give us that how we do perform, and in order to avoid any design failure or any engineering failure or any engineering massacre. Because every organization has to follow those ethical practices, and in the process get to the obey the rules and the practices being set. So often it happens that the authors of the pertinent codes, they must be used by some of the organizations. So there should be some authors, or some set of rules should be framed by certain authors, and they should be followed by some of the organizations. So basically, in private practice, or not always, they usually find your professional relationship or conventional relationship in with their practice. So basically, what I mean to say that uh, when the engineers, they are employed in some government service, they cannot find themselves out of the same relationship. So basically, you have to abide by the rules and regulations. They have to be followed, and they should not be. They should find themselves in some client relationship in their practice. So how they have to deal with the client, how they should, what they should reveal and what they should not reveal to their clients, that also must be known to you. We have in our country, in India, we are having some guidelines set by the UGC, which makes every student go through these course of practices, or human values and ethics is a compulsory course, which any engineer must learn during their process of 4-year degree program. So often there is another terminology which we are coming across. This is another interesting terminology that we are coming across, is the graduate engineers. So this is often a very common topology that we usually take from US, and often the engineers or the practicing engineers are referred to as graduating engineers or graduate engineers in US, as well as we have it a similar sort of thing as graduate engineer trainee when they are appointed for the first time after the completion of their formal degree. So basically, it's graduate engineers in the US. If they hold a bachelor's degree and they are not formally accredited by the government agencies, then those industry persons or those engineers in the industry are recognized as graduate engineers. So it's likely that there should be some relationship between the employee and the employer. So those relations must be cordial. Those relations must be professional relationship, and uh, they engineers in the industry or in some private practice, those who are doing some contract-based jobs, they face similar ethical issues, and they have they are often facing the client relations or employee-employer relations or something of that sort, which is paramount over here. Another agency I'd like to name, it is called National Society of Professional Engineers, which is an engineering society in US, and they have come forward to extend some professional license and some code of ethics. So they set down the rules, they set down the standards that across any engineering discipline that must be followed, and regardless of their practice area or their employment sector, whether they're serving the private sector, whether they are doing the government jobs, they are uh, dealing with clients, they are dealing with the employer as well. So what kind of course of practice or what kind of code of ethics that must be there, that has been designed or that has been laid down by the National Society of Professional Engineers. So NSPE is one of the founding part in US, and mostly they have laid down the codes of practices for the practicing engineers. There are several societies, though it is not a single society that has formulated this code of ethics or the codes of practices that has to be followed. And there are many engineering professional societies that have prepared or that have laid down the codes of ethics. And even some even goes around the early 20th century as well. And they are mostly incorporated or to a greater extent or to a lesser degree into the regulatory forms in several states of US. So this is one of the ideas that you can get, or a flavor that you can get, that what should be our practices, what the history is all about, how it all evolved, what are the different societies. So basically giving you an exposure regarding the engineering practice or the course of ethics that an engineer should follow. Now, a little bit of history. That's why people will be interested more into. It came around in the end of the 19th century. So you can well understand that in 1946, your National Society of Professional Engineers, they released something which we call as the Canons of Ethics for Engineers, or some set of rules for professional conduct, and which we are currently following is the Code of Ethics, which were adopted in 1964. So, well, you can imagine that it all started very early, around 50, 60 years back, even more than that. So, basically, a guide to an engineer that what he's supposed to do and what he's supposed not to do while dealing with clients, while dealing with employees, while dealing with employers. So this is how it all started with. So the framing of some code of conduct or codes of ethics, or which we call it as canons of ethics. So this is the terminology that has been used by the National Society of Professional Engineers. So this is how it started. So obviously, when we set certain standards, when we set certain rules, there should be some review committee as well. So a review committee was framed, or a board of ethical review, that was framed in 1954 in US. So there ethical cases that have very easy answers that were dealt with, around 500 advice opinions. So it cannot be a discipline specific advice. It should be an advice which should be across each and every core engineering disciplines like mechanical engineering or civil engineer or an electrical engineer must follow. So once again, you find that there is a society that being developed as the Institution of Civil Engineers, ICE, that is basically looking after the code of ethics incorporated into the standards of what we set as rules for the civil engineers. Even a Canadian Society of Professional Engineers was also developed. So there were almost similar sort of codes being developed, and almost concurrently we have the ethical review team to discuss all these things. So basically it's a need based part, I should say, because it all evolved some from some massacre, some failures, some design failures, some engineering failures. It all evolved from that, and people started to formulate in the form of code, for develop a board for reviewing this ethical codes, and they have what they had been seeing in day-to-day life, that the issues that the engineers are subjected to. So this is how it all went. So some general principles, some bookish definitions which we must understand, and right. So set for what kind of a code or what kind of a procedure will my engineer consider while dealing with public, while dealing with clients, while dealing with employers, as well as for profession. So basically, your course of engineering ethics must follow certain rules, certain specific procedures, certain specific standards, certain liabilities with respect to public dealing, with respect to dealing with clients, dealing with employer, as well as with the profession as well. So, what's the definition that has been provided by two important organizations? One is the Professional Engineers in Ontario, and the other is, which we have already named as the National Society of Professional Engineers. So, what it's all about? A practitioner shall regard the practitioner's duty to public welfare as paramount. So, it's a public welfare that has to be the first priority of your being an engineer or following the code of ethics. So once again, the National Society of Professional Engineers have given another uh, definition. So engineers in the fulfillment of their professional duties must hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public. So this is more of a generalized statement looking after the health, safety, as well as the welfare of the general public. So this is most important part of what we are calling it as ethical issues. One example we must quote that everyone was opposing at certain point of time regarding the development of 5G technology and its impact and its so definitely the engineers at certain point of time must have looked into the ethical issues related to the health, related to the safety, related to the welfare of the public before it is being launched in the different countries. Maybe by next 10 years or 5 years down the line, we may expect uh, some health issues or health hazards, and maybe, but the scientific invention cannot be stopped. But of course, it has to follow certain course of practices, a course of ethics, which must take into account the welfare, the health, as well as the safety of the general public. So these are some of the canons that we are going to discuss today. That what the fundamental canons or the ethical canons, which we are calling it, what it's all about. That what should we look into as an engineer when we are going for any invention, or when we are going for any practice, be it from electronics point of view. Just as an example, I told you about the 5G technology. Anything that is upcoming in the field of electrical, in the field of civil engineers also, they must also hold the present needs that the health, safety, and welfare of the public should be complying. And we have already framed some sustainability development goals, so it must cater also to the principles of sustainability development in performance of their professional duties as well. So engineers, they should perform services only in the area of their competence. So this is equally important, because if you are not confident enough to do a job and you have plunged into that and you make a massacre in it, it's better that you should do practices in the area of your competence only. And engineers also should issue some public statements only as an objective and as a truthful matter. So whatever public statement that you are delivering, that should be objective, and that should be carrying, it should not be a falsified information that is to be delivered. So these are some of the fundamental things that we must ensure being an engineer, that the health, safety, and the welfare of the public should be encountered. Engineers should perform the duties as per their area of competence. So, of course, being an electrical engineer, I should not plunge in to do a job of a civil engineering one. So, this should be my ethical issues on this. This should be my ethical values in me, not to plunge into some other disciplines and try to overpower us, try to make a massacre out of it. So, definitely, and of course, when we are issuing some notices, some public statements, when we are giving public statements, being an engineer, we must be truthful, and we must be, say for example, when 5G technology was launched, how much truthful China was, or other countries were, with respect to the statements they gave to the public, that this is safe and this is so and so. So these type of things must, we must ensure that as an engineer we must understand that what should be, or how should we be truthful to our profession. Some more fundamental aspects. We should be faithful as a client. We should be faithful as an engineer. Uh, there's a power cut. I think we have to go on because it's a live session, but there must be some thing. So of course, every engineer must be faithful to his profession, faithful to its client, faithful to his trustees, and it should avoid the conflicts of interest. Even while writing a research article, we also declare that there is no conflict of interest with the development of so and so methods which have been adapted to solve a particular engineering problem as well. So the conflict of interest, definitely it should be clearly declared. There should be no conflict of interest as well. Apart from that, I think engineers should build their professional reputation in the merit of their services, and should not compete unfairly with others. So, of course, they should be competent enough to do their work, and they should be carrying some reputation of their work based on their merit and based on their services that they give. And of course, they should be acting in a manner to uphold and enhance the honor, the integrity, and the dignity of the profession. So of course, there should be a zero tolerance to the effect of bribery or any fraud things or any corruption he or she is associated with. So mostly you'll find that the integrity issues, the dignity issues of the engineering profession must be maintained. And there should be strict action against bribery charges, against any fraudulent activities, any corruption being an engineer. if he's asking, or if he or she is asking for a bribe, or some design has to be passed through without the without the consent of the competent authorities or something of that sort. So any corruption related activities, any fraudulent activities, any bribery charges against engineers should be least tolerated. So of course, so these are some of the fundamental things that of the codes which have been written. And of course, through the development of their careers, the engineers should continue their professional development as well. So anything that is new, say for example, being a civil engineer, I should understand that how do we go in for underground construction? What are the different what are the upcoming things that are coming up with underground construction? Because in India, we are seeing that a lot of underground tunnels are there, metros are being constructed underground. So, of course, what is the technology involved? So, of any engineer who is not aware of the things, and he is entering into that profession, or he is into the process, how he should develop himself or herself professionally through some opportunities, definitely some training programs, some supervision, or he or she has to work under any supervision of any person. So these sort of things will be playing a crucial role in the upliftment of the engineer and in developing some course of conduct for the engineers. So of course, professional development is another key issue that each and every engineer must understand, and the organization he or she is working in has to take care about the professional development as well. So this is a liability on the part of the employer as well to educate or to develop the professional skills required for the upliftment of the engineer profession. Now, regarding the first principle, the first duty that has been recognized by the professional engineers or the chartered engineers, which we call it, is to ensure the health of the public. So, this is the essence of looking after the safety, health, and other issues, welfare of the public. So, this is utmost important. So, this is we are calling it as a first principle approach to learning the codes of practice. So, as laid down by the professional engineers, or as laid down by the chartered engineers in UK, this is of paramount importance to the public. So, of course, the safety of the public should be ensured for by the different engineers or those who are involved in the engineering profession. So this is one of the professional engineers in Ontario that they laid down certain set of standards. So they have also referred that a practitioner should regard his duty or her duty to public welfare as paramount. So this is once again closing to the definition which was given by the professional engineers or the chartered engineers as well. So we are looking at certain fundamental rules or certain fundamental principles regarding the codes of ethics or regarding the codes of practices which an engineering profession must deliver. So, of course, the public welfare, the public safety, the public health should be of paramount issue that we are coming across in different engineering professions. Now, this is an order of the engineer in Quebec. So they have tried to address the respect of the work in the engineering profession, that engineer must respect his obligations towards human being, and take into account the consequences of his or her performance on the environment, of course. So another important aspect is environment that is coming along with the ethical practices, life, safety, and of course the health and the property of every person. So definitely it is not the welfare of the human being, it's not the uh, uh, health and safety of the human being. It's also an additional duty of an engineer to look after the environment as well. So any pollutant or any chemicals that you are manufacturing and that you are disposing of definitely must follow the codes of practices, or whether it is polluting your environment or not, that has to be looked into as well. So this is another way of looking into the things. So actually different engineering people from different engineering background have started to look upon and try to work upon the different practices, different rules, different regulations. They were in a situation to understand the various aspects which our society or our environment uh, must be protected. So, of course, based on which there are several rules, but ultimate essence is the health, safety, and welfare of the human being, as well as the health, safety, and well-being of the uh, environment as well in which we are living. Another sort of statement, or once again a recap of what we had been discussing so far, laid down by National Society of Professional Engineers, that engineers in the fulfillment of their professional duties should hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public. So this is once again a repetition or recap by the different engineering societies who had been instrumental in developing some codes of practices or some standards that they have formulated. And of course, American society is not far behind. American Society of Mechanical Engineers, this is another important society. They have also looked into the uh, primary parameters as the safety, health, and welfare of the public in the performance of the professional duties. So this is one. This is mostly different organizations who are dealing with different course of practices are more or less going in synchronism with one another and framing the engineer's duty or the professional duties, looking after the safety, health, and welfare of the public as well as of the environment as well. So this is how we are at the nutshell, similar to the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. We have Institution of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, IEEE, settled in US or headed by US. They also are saying that we as a members of IEEE do hereby commit ourselves to the highest ethical and professional conduct and agree to accept the responsibility in making some decisions which is consistent to the safety, health, and welfare of the public, and to disclose promptly the factors that must endanger the public or the environment. So, of course, safety, health, welfare of the public as well as the environment, that has to be looked into as the main focus point for the ethical practices as an engineer. Of course, looking at the chemical engineer's point of view, of course, the health, safety, and welfare of the public, and to protect the environment in performing their professional duties. So this is one of the practices that has been laid down by American Institute of Chemical Engineers. So this is another popular organization looking after the well-being of the chemical engineers. So they have also framed that all our members, all our engineers must hold the duty to ensure the safety, welfare, and health of the public, as well as to protect the environment. Because once we talk about chemicals, it's a protection of the environment that is paramount to them as well in performance of their professional duties. So this is how it goes. Now, some other ethical issues that must be there with respect to the engineering profession. Uh, Rather than I should call them rather not engineering ethics, rather than we can call it business ethics or business relations. that includes some relations between clients, consultants, competitors, as well as contractors. So there should be some, although they are competitors in the market, although they are contractors who quote the lowest quote gets the tender, something of that sort. There should be some healthy competition, or there should be some uh, ethical practices, or rather business ethics, that has to be followed during their dealing with clients, dealing with their competitors, dealing with their consultants, dealing with their contractors as well, and ensuring also the legal compliance by the clients, contractors, and others. Some conflict of interest statement, some bribery, and other issues that have to be there. So these are basically not, we cannot call it exactly to be the ethical engineering ethics, but it should be some of the conducts that are to be carried out while you are performing any business or you are maintaining any business. So basically, it's a business ethics rather than the engineering ethics that we are talking about in this particular slide. Most important things when we are talking about some ethical issues or ethical practices, uh, I think some bribery charges, some fraudulent activities, some corruption related activities must also be ensured. So we should not accept any gift or any meals or service or entertainment from our clients, or from in securing some tender, or in securing some business order, or we should also maintain the confidentiality and the proprietary information with us. And of course, this is part somewhat related to your IPR related issues. When we talk about proprietary related issues or something of that sort, IPR comes in some uh, practices or something of that sort. Some outside employment activities, or some consideration of the employer's assets or something of that sort. Some environmental protection must be there. Some engineering societies, they are looking after the environmental protection. Say for example, similar to ISO, we have the ISO 14000, which looks after the environmental protection, and how a business house or how an organization will deal with in maintaining a clean and healthy environment for the things. So some sort of nuisance that has been created in the business ethics or in the engineering ethics, dealing with some bribing or getting some order, getting some gifts, something of that sort, some fraudulent activities, some corruption related activities in the government organizations. Of course, they are part and parcel of the system, but as much as we can keep out of it, it's better and safe for us. So once we started with engineering ethics, we started in with some practices of engineering profession. Now we are getting into some sort of business ethics, or the field of business ethics. It is overlapping in nature as far as the engineering profession is concerned, and informs some ethical decision making for engineers as well. So there are some overlaps, of course, but it must include also some legal issues, like corruption must be avoided, some bribery charges must be not should not be a part of the profession, and also some fraudulent activities that should be avoided as well. So some additional requirements for business ethics, apart from the engineering ethics or the engineering profession is concerned. Now we'll take up some of the case studies. It's a first Tay Bridge. We call it Tay Bridge, that collapsed in 1879 due to some engineering failure, or it was a growing concern, a growing need for a bridge to be collapsed, and causing a death of at least 60 people. So at the cost of 60 lives, we come across certain business cases, or certain uh, engineering failures. We call it engineering failure with respect to the design, or which I thought that I should discuss, and how it all be brought about, and this necessitated the invention or developing the courses for engineers as well. So I think this is a part which is a distinct profession during 19th century, and engineers saw themselves as independent professional practitioners. So there was no code of conduct, there was no ethical practices, there were no they are simply the technical employees of certain enterprises. So there was considerable conflict between the large industrial employers to maintain control over their employees as well. So this was a part which necessitated or leads to certain engineering failures. One of the test cases I'm sharing with, and this is where it all started, and people have started formulating different codes or practices, mainly founded by four engineering societies: the American Institute of Electrical Engineers, or the civil engineers, or even your mechanical engineers, and even your mining institute also. So mostly they started developing some, or started rising to the development of four founding engineering societies. So basically the foundation behind development of these societies is to address these particular failures and develop some code of conduct uh, for for uh, for the welfare of the human being, or safety of the human being. So once again, there were some learned professionals, those who were engaged in ASC or AIEE, and even in AMIE, which were almost identified that it is the engineer as a technical that engineer is a technical profession. So let us work together for some codes, some practices that must be followed by each and every engineer. So at that time, even ethics was considered to be personal rather than a broad professional concern. So this is the tyranny, or this is the irony that led to certain engineering failures as well. So ethics is what we used to we will follow personally, differs from person to person. So that is absolutely a nuisance that led to certain engineering failures as well. Another disaster in a flood disaster, basically in Boston, US. That another strong impetus for establishment of professional licensing and codes of ethics in the United States. So these were basically some eye openers, rather, or these test cases have led to some development of course of practices, some engineering professions, some breeze disaster. Of course, there are several that follow. Some structural failures, or including some breach design, some disaster with respect to the railroad, the Tay-Bridge disaster, Quebec breach collapse. So several professions, mostly instigated by civil engineering profession. Of course, there are other engineering professions as well. I have taken a few of them to understand, or to uh, know this particular things, or you can co-connect them easily with these engineering design failure, or some lack of professionalism, lack of codes or practices, and this led to some certain shortcomings in their technical and their construction practices as well. So this created a profound effect on the engineers, and they forced the profession to confront with the shortcomings as well. Uh, of course, some history, some historical development with respect to the four founding members and the societies. So AIEE, AICE, AI. So all you may find that these are all core engineering professions which were adopted. They started adopting the codes of conduct, or codes of ethics with respect to mechanical engineers. We have AIME, we have ASCE for civil engineers. ASM is also a mechanical engineering society. AIEE is for electrical engineers. So all started in 90s, 1912, 1914. So beginning of the 19th century. So some concerns were raised, some protecting things were there with respect to breach failure, just as we talked about the Boston breach failure or the Boston flood disaster that we talked about. Some impetus was there to develop some underway for some time that requires some formal credentials and professional licensing in the US. So this was the requirement that was felt, and it involves some meetings with some contribution from the educational societies or educational institutions, as well as some testing requirements before we are going for a bridge construction or something of that sort. So basically, it was the disasters created some eye opener and helped the engineering profession to develop and develop some course of ethics and course of practices which any professional engineer must follow while dealing with clients, while dealing with the society, and of course, just as we talked about that, it is the welfare of the public which is of paramount importance for us. So another following decades, we have the American states and the Canadian provinces. They are coming up with some either required engineers to be licensed or passed certain special legislation reserving the title rights to the organizations. Or when they are serving any particular organization, they has to be licensed. So this was the first innovative idea that was laid down by the American states as well as some of the Canadian provinces as well. So Canadian model was to require all persons working in the field of engineering that should pose a risk to their life, to their health, the property, and the public welfare. So once again, an environment to be licensed as well. So these are the key issues that we had been discussing right from the beginning, that health, safety, property, public welfare, and environment to be protected, all licensed. So it's the same story that is being repeated throughout my delivery. So once again, we had US model independently working on practicing. So we call them consulting engineers. So they have to be licensed. There has to be some split between professional engineers and those who are working in the industry. Professional societies have started developing some codes of ethics, definitely, and technical societies have generally not adopted this, but instead sometimes offer some ethics of education or resources to members similar to those of the codes of practices. So this all started. So some disasters, some engineering failures, some design failures, some construction failures have led to or initiated the process. Another Citigroup Center is an example of ethical conduct, is another response to some design deficiencies that were remain uncovered after the construction of the Citigroup Center. So this is another eye opener, and we see engineer as a professional and engineer as an employee still being reflected today when we are giving a title to the term or coinage to the term engineer. So in US industries, we call them as engineer is determined by the firm and often apply to anyone executing some design, and they can include some individuals with an associate degree or some degree in engineering program or in a technological program. So this is how it goes. So once again, we are going back to one term which we differentiated, graduate engineer, which is differentiating between a bachelor's of science of a degree in engineering. So graduate engineer must be a graduate in an engineering degree, having some engineering degree. So most of the American states license and laws require some bachelor's degree of science degree or licensure, and current US model laid down by professional engineers, they require a minimum of master of science degree in engineering or a bachelor of science degree with additional equivalent in graduate level. So this is in recommendation with strong support from the Civil Engineering Society as well. So a graduate engineer must hold at least a bachelor's degree of science in engineering program or a master degree will be an added advantage to him. So some division of engineering societies, of course, were laid down, as we have seen, um, regarding American Society for Civil Engineers, American Society for Mechanical Engineers, or Institution of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, and later on we found the development of the Chemical Engineers Society, laid down by American Institute of Chemical Engineers, and of course, NSPE is of course already there. So they have started developing their codes, their ethics, their providing some educational and training resources as well. Some broadly classified as professional and technical societies. So these all started to happen. Of course, there are other societies as well. So, technical societies like American Railway Engineering Association, so another important, looking after the design and the laying down of the railways. What are the codes of conducts? What are the standards that has to be set? Society for Automotive Engineers, dealing with the automobile industries. Society for Manufacturing Engineers, so manufacturing sectors, they develop their own set of professional practices and including ethics as well. So, of course, there were efforts to promote ethical practice, still continue, and of course, there are several incidents that took place. Just a few examples we quoted as well: the Canadian Iron Ring and the American Order of the Engineer. They traced their roots to this cubic bridge collapse. So, of course, both require some members to swear an oath and upheld some ethical practice and wear a symbolic ring as a reminder to this engineering failures. So definitely, we have to look into the well-being of the society. We have to look into the well-being of the environment that we are living in, right? Some of the notable, I think, the case studies, which you must go through, some of the engineering failures that have taken place. Uh, all engineering failures does not involve, of course, the ethical issues, but still, some of the famous engineering failures that have been discussed, they are based on sometimes certain miscalculations involve the failure of the design process, the management culture as well. So all those culminated into the failures of the different massacres or different disasters that we had seen in the beginning of the 19th century as well as in the late 18th century as well. So this is just an eye opener, and just to give an idea about what type of engineering failures that you may encounter. And of course, the failure may be in terms of design, in terms of some technical calculations, in terms of the management culture, and all those things culminated into some of the famous disasters or of engineering failures that pertains to your ethical issues, or some management issues or business ethics as well. It may involve some engineering failures or design failures as well, and these are some of them which has taken place, or due to which the professional ethics or the professional practices are in place, and several professional societies have been developed to ensure the ethical ways of dealing with this particular noble profession as well. So these are some of the other clusters that we are having. Cubic bridge collapse is another. Johnston flood, some fishing and hunting club is there. Cambridge disaster already discussed with you people. So of course these are some of the issues that we came across in the late 18th century and the beginning of the 19th century, that has helped us to develop certain professional ethics and develop some codes or practices by the different professional societies dealing with the different engineering disciplines, of course. Thank you so much for your time and patience, and I think we can move on for the question. If you have any quiz session in between, we can have quizzes in between, and then we can move on to the question answer sessions. So this is how we wind up today regarding the ethics and the practices. And over to IGP for their intervention regarding the quizzes and the question answers.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. It has been very informative for us and also for our participants. Sir, it's time for our question answer session. After a
Okay.
short video, we will start our question answer session.
Okay.
Dear participant, we are requested you to ask your question in the comment box. Our speaker sir is here to reply them. Sir, our first question is from Jordan. Good day, sir. What are the ethical responsibilities that an engineer has towards the environment?
Definitely, we are talking about sustainability development goals as of now. SDG has let down certain 17 goals, I suppose, in total, to keep our environment clean. And of course, it's the responsibility of the engineers, especially the chemical engineers who are working in the chemical process plants, to take measure about what they when they are dealing with some harmful chemicals that are coming out as an end product, and how they are disposing it off. So it is a responsibility, definitely an ethical responsibility, for a chemical engineer to dispose of the uh, to remove the harmful effects of the different chemicals that they are disposing of in the water. So that must be treated before they are to be disposed of. So this should be the ethical responsibility that an engineer has towards the environment, or contributing towards the environment.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Our next question is from Flaming. Good evening, sir. What are the most common causes of engineering failures disaster?
Yeah, just as I was hinting about different case studies regarding engineering failures or the disasters that you have seen, mostly the bridge collapse or the flood disaster or these sort of things. Mostly they have resulted from some engineering design, from some failure of technical issues, some competency with respect to the labor, some involvement of management or the management culture. So different types of causes are there for mostly the engineering failures or the engineering disasters, but mostly the case studies that we had dealt with mostly dealt with the engineering failures or lack of professional practice on the part of the engineers.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Our next question is from Evelyn. Good evening, sir. What happens if an engineer violates ethics? Thank you.
Of course, there should be, as I told you in my slide as well, that there should be zero tolerance to if an engineer violates ethics, definitely, with respect to bribery charges, with respect to any corruption. So, if you are making a design and if you are falsifying some information or making some calculation mistakes in your design and that has not been tested, and it goes to the society or it goes to directly your highway construction or your bridge construction part, it has serious impact on it. So there should be zero tolerance if an engineer violates ethics.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. Sir, I think there is no more question. On behalf of
Okay.
IGP, thank you so much, sir. It has been very wonderful session. I hope everyone learned from your presentation.
Thank you, Saktu, so much. IGP, once again, Happy New Year to the participants and IGP and its different employees. Once again, my regards to Mr. Kaushik Datta, who has been instrumental throughout and helped me get this platform. And I'll be happy to serve around 23 webinars to follow in this particular year. I hope that all of the participants will enjoy my sessions. Thank you so much. Once again, Happy New Year to all the participants, all the IGP members.
Thank you so much, sir, and also Happy New Year. Dear participant, today some of our technical problems. We cannot share our today webinar code. We will provide the code in a short time. Thank you. Dear participant, after a short video, we'll start our quiz session. Yeah, to join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com and the code is IGP3 and the code is IGP3. Let's start our quiz session. Dear participant, to join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com and the code is IGP3 and the code is IGP3. We will pick your name from Slido, so join with your full name, which will directly print on certificates. Top 10 will be awarded with quiz competition certificate. We will start our quiz session after 2 minutes. Please mention your friend to join our quiz session. Already 30 people joined with us. Dear participant, to join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com and the code is IGP3 and the code is IGP3. Please mention your friend to join our quiz session. Dear participant, let's start our quiz session. Our first question is, what important ethics are related to engineering solutions? Option 1, using your drawing skills as an engineer. Option 2, use knowledge and skill for the advancement of human welfare. Option 2, use knowledge and skill for the advancement of human welfare is the right answer and 86% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Safal is holding the first position after completing our first question. Our second question is, which is not a phrase in the engineering project phrase? Option 1, construction phrase. Option 2, pre-design phrase. Option 1, constructing phrase. Option 2, pre-design phrase. Option 2, pre-design phrase is the right answer and 56% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our second question. Our third question is, which of the following is not a feature of software engineering ethics? Option 1, so social based interest. Option 2, beneficence. Option 2, beneficence is the right answer and 61% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our third question. Our fourth question is, ethics deal with option 1, morals. Option 2, respondent superior. Option 1, morals. Option 2, respondent superior. Option 1, morals is the right answer and 94% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our fourth question. Our fifth question is, why is the metric system important for in scientific research? Option 1, allows past research to be repeated using same measurements. Option 2, allows dependent variables to seen. Option 1 allows past research to be repeated using same measurements is the right answer, and 62% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our fifth question. Our sixth question is, what is 0.036 written in engineering notation? Option 1, 3.6 into 10 minus 2. Option 2, 36 into 10 minus 3. Option 2, 36 into 10 minus 3 is the right answer, and 28% people are right here. The leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our sixth question. Our seventh question is, what step is research in the engineering design process? Option 1, 6. Option 2, 2. Option 1, 6. Option 2, 2. Option 2, 2 is the right answer, and 48% people are right here. The leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our seventh question. Our eighth question is, what step is to refine the design in the engineering design process? Option 1, 11. Option 2, 8. What step is to refine the design in the engineering design process? Option 1, 11. Option 2, 8. Option 2, 8 is the right answer, and 73% people are right here. The leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our eighth question. Our ninth question is, which is the first phrase in the engineering project phrase? Option 1, the beginning phrase. Option 2, the initials phrase. Option 1, the beginning phrase. Option 2, the initials phrase. Option 2, the initials phrase is the right answer, and 47% people are right here. The leaderboard, Shafal is holding the first position after completing our ninth question. Our last and final question of this session. What are ethics? Option 2, a study of morality. Option 2, a study of psychology. Option 1, a study of morality. Option 2, a study of philosophy. Option 1, a study of morality is the right answer, and 97% people are right here. Congratulations, our top 10 quiz competition winner. We have all of your name which you entered during joining. We will pick your name from Slido and prepare certificate, and we'll post them into our official Facebook page and group. Our official Facebook page is Institute of Global Professional. Thank you so much everyone for your active participation. I hope everyone learned from our webinar. See you again in our next session. Till that, stay happy. Once again, I am Badhundas from Bangladesh.